Mafia knows your name now. The moment I realized they know your name, something in me went completely still. Not fear, clarity. Yeah, you're not standing in front of me, but I'm talking to you because this is the only way I can say it without lying. When powerful people learn a name, they don't see a person, they see leverage. And that's when I stopped thinking like a man and started thinking like a shield. You don't hear panic in my voice because panic is useless. What you hear is resolve. I won't let your name become a currency in rooms where loyalty is bought and lives are negotiated like numbers. You don't see what I see now. The subtle shifts, the way conversations pause half a second longer when I walk in, the way eyes measure instead of glance. They're connecting dots, and your name is one of them. That's why I'm speaking to you like this, quietly, directly, without softness, because softness gets noticed. I need you invisible, untouched, uninteresting to anyone who thinks knowing your name gives them access to you. It doesn't. Not while I'm breathing. I don't say your name out loud anymore. Names have weight, and I refuse to let yours sink into the wrong ears. I keep it locked inside me, where no one can steal it, repeat it, or twist it into a threat. You might think distance means I'm pulling away. Doesn't. Distance is me standing in front of you with my back to the danger. It's me choosing silence over reassurance, because reassurance can be traced. This isn't love that asks for understanding. It's love that operates without permission. I don't need you to know what I'm doing, who I'm dealing with, or how close things get sometimes. I need you untouched by it. I've learned that real power isn't loud, it's preventive. I don't wait for problems to reach you. I end them before they learn how. If that makes me cold in your memory, I live with that. There are moments when I want to tell you everything, when the weight presses hard enough that honesty feels tempting. But temptation is a weakness I don't afford myself anymore. You're safest when you don't know how dangerous the world around my name has become. Let my reputation absorb the attention. Let my past, my silence, my presence carry the risk. You were never meant to. If you feel me pulling away, understand this clearly. I'm not leaving you behind. I'm moving ahead of the threat. I'm placing myself where impact will land first. Loving you doesn't mean holding you close. It means knowing exactly when not to. I won't let your life become collateral for my existence. That's not protection. That's negligence. And I don't make careless moves. So listen to me even if you never hear this out loud. Mafia, knowing your name doesn't mean they own you. It means I've drawn a line that only I'll stand on. They can know my face, my history, my sins. They can speak my name like it gives them power. But yours stays out of their reach, always. I don't measure danger by weapons or numbers anymore. I measure it by curiosity. The moment people start asking the wrong questions, that's when I start erasing answers. You don't need to know how that looks in practice. Just know that nothing moves toward you without passing through me first. I become very good at standing in the way and looking like I belong there. That's how you stop storms, by becoming the part of the sky they don't question. There are nights when I replay your voice in my head, not for comfort, but for focus. It reminds me that not everything in this world is transactional. Some things can't be bought, threatened, or negotiated. That thought keeps my hand steady when situations try to rush me into mistakes. You don't realize it, but you're the quiet discipline behind every calm decision I make. I don't need to see you to feel anchored. I've learned that loyalty is rare and silence is priceless. I choose both carefully. I don't surround myself with people who talk about feelings or futures. I keep people who understand boundaries and consequences. You exist outside all of that. You're not part of my world structure. You're the reason I keep it contained. If you were inside it, I'd have to harden you. I refuse to do that. If one day you hear that I've changed, that I've become colder or harder to reach, believe it. Change was necessary. But don't confuse distance with absence. I'm closer than I've ever been, just not in ways that leave traces. Every decision bends away from you like a shield angling impact. That's not coincidence. That's constant attention. I don't believe in fate, but I believe in responsibility. Once someone like me lets another person matter, the rules change. I accepted that the moment your name became something I protect instead of speak. From then on, my life stopped being mine alone. That's not a burden. That's structure. It tells me exactly where my limits are and exactly what I'll never trade. Sometimes I imagine a future that doesn't need this level of vigilance, where names don't carry weight and love doesn't require distance. I don't chase that future. I prepare for it. Preparation keeps people alive long enough to see better days. Hope without preparation gets buried fast. So I plan, I wait, and I keep you outside the blast radius of my reality. I won't ask you to trust me blindly. Trust grows when nothing bad happens, and nothing bad happens because I don't allow it. That's the quiet equation I live by now. You stay where life is still simple. I'll stay where it isn't. Let the Mafia think knowing your name gives them leverage. The only leverage that exists is the one I refuse to hand over. I don't announce my protection because announcements invite tests. I work in margins, small shifts, delayed meetings, changed routes that look accidental. You'll never notice them. And that's the point. The safest moves are the ones that don't feel heroic. They feel boring. They feel like nothing happened. Nothing happening is success. While others chase control by force, I reduce probability. I make the bad outcomes unlikely enough that they choose easier targets. You stay untouched because I make you uninteresting to the wrong people. I don't correct rumors about me anymore. Rumors are useful camouflage. Let them argue about what I am, what I've done, what I might do next. While they're busy narrating me, I'm moving pieces they can't see. I've learned that visibility is optional, but preparedness isn't. You don't need to know the names I avoid or the rooms I never enter. You just need your days to remain ordinary. Ordinary is expensive. I pay for it quietly. There's a discipline to not reaching out when instinct says to close the distance. Instinct isn't always wise. It's just loud. Wisdom whispers and I listen. I don't call because calls leave trails. I don't explain because explanations create leverage. If you ever feel the space between us stretch, understand this space is a tool. It keeps pressure from cracking what matters. I'd rather you feel a little distance than feel watched. I don't promise safety as a feeling. Feelings fluctuate. I promise it as a practice, repetition, consistency, saying no to shortcuts even when they'd make things easier for me, choosing patience when impatience would be faster. Every choice stacks in your favor. That's the math I trust. Not luck, not prayers. Decisions repeated until they become a wall no one notices because it's been there so long. Sometimes I test myself by imagining what I'd do if lines were crossed. The answer is always the same. I wouldn't react. I'd resolve. Reaction is emotional. Resolution is final. That's why I keep my emotions narrow and my intentions precise. You're the one place I allow softness, and even then I keep it contained. Softness belongs in private. Strength belongs in public. Mixing the two is how people get hurt. I don't need gratitude. Gratitude creates obligation, and obligation creates exposure. Live like none of this exists. Complain about small things. Make plans without checking exits. Trust the day to be normal. That normalcy is the outcome I'm engineering. If you ever wonder why I seem absent at the exact moments you'd expect me, remember this. Protection often looks like not being there at all. So I'll keep choosing the quiet path, the longer road, the option that leaves no story behind. Let others think knowing a name means control. Control comes from denial, denying access, denying patterns, denying satisfaction. You remain unnamed in the places that matter. I remain steady where pressure gathers. That's how this works. That's how I keep you untouched while the world keeps guessing. I've stopped believing that danger arrives loudly. It arrives organized, polite, patient. It waits for habits, for comfort, for moments when you assume you're safe because nothing bad happened yesterday. That's why I don't relax. I adapt. I remove routines like they're liabilities. You don't notice because I make the changes look natural. The goal isn't to win. The goal is to never give anyone a clean angle on you. I live my life cutting angles before they exist. I don't tell you when I sense pressure building because pressure doesn't need witnesses. It needs containment. I let it press against me until it loses interest, until it finds something easier, louder, more reactive. People underestimate silence. They think it means uncertainty. It doesn't. It means I already decided. You benefit from decisions you'll never hear about, from problems that dissolve before they learn how to introduce themselves. There's a difference between isolation and solitude. I chose solitude. Isolation weakens people, solitude sharpens them. I keep my circle small, my words smaller. The less I say, the less there is to misinterpret. You exist outside all of that, untouched by the calculus. That's not because you're fragile. It's because you deserve a life that doesn't require constant calculation to survive. I've learned to let time do the work I used to force. Time exposes impatience, greed, mistakes. I don't rush outcomes anymore. I wait until they're inevitable. While others escalate, I simplify. While they push, I withdraw. That's how momentum flips. That's how threats lose shape. You never feel the shift because by the time it happens, the danger has already moved on. If you ever sense me close without seeing me, that's not coincidence. It's proximity without contact. I stay near enough to intervene and far enough to remain untraceable. Presence doesn't always need a body. Sometimes it's just readiness, held like a breath you don't release unless you have to. I don't need recognition for that. Recognition would defeat the purpose. I don't imagine a clean future, I imagine a stable one. Stability isn't dramatic. It's boring in the best way. It's weeks without incidents, months without questions, years where your name never comes up in rooms it shouldn't. That's the horizon I move toward. Not freedom from risk, freedom from attention. Attention is what turns names into targets. So I continue like this, choosing restraint over noise, distance over display, patience over impulse. You remain the constant I protect by refusing to center you anywhere visible. Let the world think it understands me because it knows a name. Understanding lives in patterns, and I deny those relentlessly. You stay out of reach. I stay in control. That's the arrangement, and it's the only one that keeps you safe. I've accepted that being misunderstood is part of the price. People assume distance means indifference, that quiet means emptiness. They're wrong, but I don't correct them. Corrections invite curiosity, and curiosity leads to doors opening where they shouldn't. I let them believe whatever makes them comfortable, because comfort makes people careless. While they relax, I stay exact. You don't need the truth wrapped in explanations. You just need the result, a life that keeps moving forward without interruption. There are moments when the weight presses harder than usual, when responsibility feels heavier than danger ever did. That's when I remind myself why I chose this posture, why I stand between you and everything that wants a reaction. I don't protect you because you're weak. I protect you because you're untouched. And untouched things deserve to stay that way. The world is good at leaving fingerprints. I'm better at wiping them away before they're noticed. I don't confuse vigilance with paranoia. Paranoia imagines threats everywhere. Vigilance recognizes them early and limits their reach. I don't see enemies in every shadow, but I respect the fact that shadows exist for a reason. I keep my senses tuned low and steady, never spiking, never relaxing too far. Balance is how you last. Balance is how I make sure your name never becomes a sentence someone finishes with a smile. My Sometimes I think about what you'd say if you knew how much planning goes into nothing happening. You'd probably laugh. Tell me I overthink. Tell me the world isn't always waiting to collapse. Maybe you'd be right for your world. Mine works differently. In my world, prevention looks like overthinking until it becomes instinct. You don't need to understand that difference. You just need to live on the side of it that stays quiet. I don't carry guilt for choosing this life. Guilt slows you down. What I carry is accountability. Every choice traces back to me, and I accept that. If things go wrong, they go wrong on my watch, not yours. That line matters to me more than anything else. It keeps my decisions clean and my priorities obvious. When everything else blurs, that line stays sharp. If you ever feel a strange calm when things around you should feel uncertain, don't question it. Calm isn't luck, it's design. It's pressure redirected, attention diluted, interest steered elsewhere. You're not avoiding chaos by chance. You're avoiding it because I'm standing where it prefers to gather. That's not bravery. That's placement. I put myself where the impact belongs. So I'll keep speaking to you like this, without expecting an answer, without asking for acknowledgement. This isn't a conversation. It's alignment. You live your life where names don't carry weight. I manage the side where they do. Let the world think knowing a name means control. Control comes from choice, and I choose again and again to keep you beyond reach.